Okay, welcome back to Fit After 40. It is me, Brian again, and today I'm going to be talking about my 1-year journey with intermittent fasting. I'm going to be hitting on 3 points. I'm going to be hitting on why I chose to do intermittent fasting, the physical benefits of intermittent fasting, as well as the mental benefits of intermittent fasting. So I want to take you back real quick to, just the whole scope of how this all began. Starting with, growing up as a kid, I was an extremely very skinny kid, and I'm going to be following PowerPoint because I want to make sure that I'm not rambling on during this video. And so I went from being a very skinny kid to went off to college, played basketball, then I stopped playing basketball, and after I stopped playing basketball, I gained a whole bunch of weight. I went from being 135, 145 at the end of high school. By my senior year of college, I was 205 pounds. So, that huge weight gain, started to affect me, and then I started getting back into shape by playing basketball again. Well, starting about 2004, 2005, I started to work out on a regular basis. Then about 2006, that's when it almost became obsessive with me working out. And I started to work out 5-6 days a week on a regular basis. And I continued this trend for about 12-13 years. And one of the things that I was doing was I went from being somebody that lifted and ran, and then about 2009 I really got into straight running. So I stopped lifting, I just started running all the time, probably doing between 40 and 60 miles a week. And I was doing this because I wanted to keep my weight low. As a runner, I was 150 pounds. I did a marathon. I was 140 pounds from training so much. And I was constantly worried about how much weight I would gain. I was constantly worried about what the scale would say. And I ran so much, I was pretty much to the point where if I looked at the scale and the scale said a certain number and I didn't like it, I'd say, okay, I'll go run 12 miles and I'll lose this much weight. But then, as I got older, and now I'm 46 years old, about to be 47, about 2015, all that running started to just wear on my knees. And I'm 42, 43 years old, and I'm like, I can't keep doing this to maintain my weight. So then I started lifting weights. And that was a whole nother transition that I had to get used to, because with the running, I could go out, run, lose weight. With lifting, it's not as quickly that you see those pounds go off as you do with running. But there are other benefits that came with it, such as your body, you do gain weight, but it's through muscle, your body slims down. So once I gained that knowledge, I felt a little bit more comfortable with lifting weights to the point where I became obsessed with that. And I was still doing it 5-6 days a week. And so at that point, I started to say to myself, man, how can I continue to keep doing this? Because with me working out 5-6 days a week, that means that it takes a toll on so many different things. And so I was tired of getting up every morning to work out, or tired of coming home every afternoon to work out, because when I'm doing those things, it's taking away time from my kids, it's taking away time from my wife. And so last summer, 2018 of August, I came back from my vacation and I ran into my friend Tommy. Now my friend Tommy, I used to see him all the time because he's my brother-in-law's best friend. And whenever I would see him, I was like, yo man, how are you staying in such good shape? You must be working out a lot. And he's like, no, I'm just doing intermittent fasting. I really don't have a lot of time to work out because at the time he was working so much. And then he had his daughter, and I would continually see him. And this is an individual who lost over 70 pounds and has maintained that weight loss. And so now, he's so knowledgeable about intermittent fasting and fitness. He has his own fitness gym and his own Facebook page that with fitness. And so, make sure that you click on that page that's showing up right there. Okay? So, I see him again in August. And the day before, 2 days before, I actually did research on intermittent fasting because it's kind of, as I'm browsing through the internet and I see it, and I'm like, man, let me dig into this a little bit. Let me do a little bit more research. So just by happenstance, I go to my brother-in-law's barbecue, Tommy's there, we sit down, we start talking. Talked for about an hour. He was just telling me all these things about intermittent fasting. So then he said, listen, if you really want to know about this and really want to get started on it, FaceTime me tomorrow and we will really dig into this. Because Tommy never said to me, man, you should be doing intermittent fasting, you should be doing this. He was never that type of person. If you asked, he would tell you, but he wasn't going to try to sell you on something, even though it was working for him, which was part of what I appreciated so much about him, and part of how he has become so successful as running his gym. So the next day, I FaceTime him, and we dig into this, and he sends me the online book of Eat, Stop, Eat, and I read everything and stuff like that, and the next day I start fasting. So that first day, I go and I was like, all right, I'm going to do 14 hours. And he told me, just start with 12, 14 hours. So I do 14 hours, and I actually felt pretty good when I hit the 14-hour mark. But I was so scared that, okay, I better eat now, because if I don't, what's going to happen to me? Am I going to explode? I mean, when you're somebody who is told by everybody you need to eat 6 small meals a day to lose weight, yeah, that's whatever, okay? Did that all the time, wasn't working for me. Yes, I was in good shape, but at what expense? My body was breaking down. So I do 14 hours the first day, then the next day, I was like, man, let me see if I can get 14 hours again. I get 15 hours. By the end of the week, that Saturday, I had gotten up to 20 hours. And to me, this was just simply amazing, because I couldn't believe that I was able to go this long without eating, because I was always that individual 5, 6 small meals a day. So the other part about this was I wanted to do this because I wanted to reduce how much I worked out. And so that the first 2-3 weeks, I stayed working out 5 days a week. After that 3rd week, I dropped down to 4 days a week, because my goal was to see if I could just work out 3 days a week and do intermittent fasting and see what would happen. 6 weeks into it, I'm seeing changes in my body. Now, again, I didn't have a lot of weight to lose. That wasn't the purpose of it. The purpose was I wanted to get leaner and reduce my workload. And so 6 weeks in, I started doing it. I went straight into 3 days a week. I was probably fasting anywhere from 16 to 20 hours, okay? And when I say 20 hours, I may have hit that 2 or 3 times. So around November, my body had just started to really become adapted to intermittent fasting, so I was doing longer fasts, normally between 16 to 20, sometimes even 24 hours. And those 24 hours would be where I would want to reset my body that Monday after a weekend of, kind of eating and drinking. So that November, right before Thanksgiving, I go to my gym and I'm like, let me get my body fat checked, because I hadn't had it checked in about 3-4 years. And the last time I got it checked, I thought I was in pretty good shape, and my body fat was about 10.5%. So I go in and I'm telling the trainer my age and things of that nature, and I take off my shirt, and the guy was just very impressed, because he was like, oh my goodness. He could not believe how lean I was. And he was like, man, are you on a strict diet? You must eat clean. How do you work out? And I was like, well, it's not really a diet that I do. I do intermittent fasting, and I work out 3 days a week. And he's like, what were you doing before? And I told him. He was like, that's just amazing, because he put some of his clients on it too. But to see how I was reducing my workload while just fasting and increasing my fasting a few hours from where I started, and to be that lean, he was extremely impressed. And he was like, man, that's pretty amazing what you've done to your body without all the stress. So after that, I continued to fast and increasing my fast and things of that nature. But this takes me to the next part of why I'm truly doing this video. And the true part about this is that I am amazed at the physical benefits that intermittent fasting has given me. But the mental benefits that intermittent fasting has given me is words can't explain it for me, okay? Because think about it. I'm working out less. I worry less about how much food I eat. And I'm enjoying my food. And I say this from this perspective. When I was running and I was weighing myself all the time to keep my weight down, I would weigh myself 5, 10, 15, 20 times a day. And I knew that every time I got on that scale, it was going to determine whether I was in a good mood for the rest of the day or a bad mood. But I couldn't get over that. I was addicted to that scale. And from the outside, people see me and they're like, oh, you know what, Brian's got it together. He's in shape. He doesn't have to worry about eating. He doesn't have to worry about gaining weight. But little did they know, that was the biggest struggle that I had to overcome. And no matter how often I worked out, no matter how much I worked out, I could never get over it. My body dysmorphia was literally tearing me apart. My wife would see me break down, crying, because I could not get past the fact that I never thought my body looked as good as it should look. I didn't think that I should be gaining as much weight as I may have gained over the weekend. And so she would hide the scale from me. She would give me words of encouragement. Now my wife is a nurse, she's a runner, she's in shape. But what she didn't understand is that she would always say to me, Brian, you are in phenomenal shape. Why are you so hard on yourself? And the only way I can explain it is this. Regardless of whether you're in shape, whether you're in decent shape, or whether you're not in shape, the one thing that people truly need to understand is that we all go through it. We all go through the body dysmorphia. We all go through the worrying about if we're going to gain weight. We all go through worrying about if we ate too much and what it's going to do to our body. Are we going to gain a pound? Did I gain 2 pounds yesterday? Did I gain 3 pounds this week? Oh, I lost a few pounds, so I can eat freely or drink freely. Don't get confused by somebody who is in shape, kind of in shape, or out of shape. We all go through that. And intermittent fasting for me has allowed me the freedom to not worry about the scale anymore. I have not weighed myself since that, let me rephrase that. I've weighed myself maybe 3 or 4 times since last November. That's almost a year. This coming from somebody who used to weigh themselves, like I said earlier, up to 20 times a day. I don't worry about how much I eat. I don't worry about if I'm going to gain a pound or lose a pound. Because the beauty about intermittent fasting is that you can eat, sometimes you can overeat, but the next day, if you get in a good fast, and a good fast can be for some people 16 hours. For other people, it can be 18, 20, 24 hours, longer. You're going to see your body react in a way that your body's not going to react if you're eating 6 meals a day and working out. Because before, if I overate or I drank too much, I would say, man, I gotta do a 2 a day. Or, you know what, when I was running, I've gained 3 pounds, I'm gonna go run 10 miles. With intermittent fasting, the mental freedom that I have is like no other. It allows me to enjoy my food. It allows me not to worry about myself. It allows, when I say worry about myself, worry about my weight. And when I look at myself in the mirror now, I am very appreciative of the gains that I've made. And I'm very appreciative of the gains that I made because I did it with less work and just adding intermittent fasting to my life. It has completely changed my life. It has completely changed my body physically. But mentally, what it has done to me is something that I could have never imagined. It has given me peace of mind with food, with weight. And I can't even say the scale because I don't even use it anymore. And so I'm going to continue to do intermittent fasting for as long as I possibly can. But if there's one takeaway that I want those who are watching to understand, and those who are thinking about doing it to understand, is that when you get into intermittent fasting, or if you're going to try it, you have to come with an open mind. It is a very daunting task to think that you're not going to be able to eat for 12, 14, 16 hours. I get that. Anybody who's fasted, we all have went through that. But you have to stick with it. And you have to be real with yourself. Some people, they can do intermittent fasting and lose 6, 7 pounds in a week. Some people can lose 10, 12 pounds in 2 weeks. Okay? Now that it doesn't happen to everybody. But I will say this, and I've told people this who have done intermittent fasting. Where you will see the difference is in your clothes. If you're hoping to lose 5 pounds right away, it may not happen. You may lose 2. But I can guarantee you this, you're going to see a change in how your clothes fit, because a lot of the people who have put onto this have said that. A lot of them have said, yeah, I've only lost like 5 pounds or 6 pounds in the 2 weeks that I've done it, but I've already had to tighten my belt an extra loop. That right there, I tell them, that's where it is, because you're losing body fat. That's where your gains are. But once you get into this, I want you to stick with it for longer than just 2 weeks. Stick with it for a month, because you're going to see the gains, okay? But more than that, once your body gets adapted to the fasting and you really start to dig into it and you really start to understand the benefits of how it's going to benefit you in terms of your diet, because you can, I started out eating whatever I wanted, but then as I fasted longer, I had less cravings. I started to make better choices, because those benefits just expedited the fat burn and the leanness that I was getting. Not so much the weight loss for me, but how lean I was getting. But for people who are looking to lose that weight, it's going to just speed up that weight loss, because you're just going to become better adapted at eating. You become a better eater. But the mental clarity that you are going to get is something that I don't think anybody prepares for. The peace of mind that it will give you as you continue to fast and continue to see these gains is something that I hope everybody understands. It's something that I hope everybody gets to, and when they get there, just appreciate it and enjoy it. Because where I am right now, close to being 47 years old next month, the fact that I know that I have the ability to eat what I want, not worry about my weight, look at myself in the mirror and be happy with myself, I could have never had this on a consistent basis if I didn't start intermittent fasting, because my body was eventually going to break down with all the working out that I did. So, intermittent fasting, to me, it is a game changer. And I'll say this one last time. It's not so much the physical. It is the physical, don't get me wrong. But for most people, it's that mental peace of mind that they are looking for when it comes to their bodies, to their weight, and food. And this is the step in the right direction. I will go to bat for intermittent fasting for as long as I'm doing it, which is going to be for as long as I can, because I've seen it myself. And so, take that information, especially that mental part that you're going to gain, and use that as fuel if you decide that you want to do this. I want to thank everybody for tuning into my channel again. Make sure you subscribe or hit that bell so that you can get the notifications. And I'll be coming on with more things about intermittent fasting. But hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, like it, and hey, let's get it, y'all.